Hello and welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. My name's Addie and today we are back with another speed build. Today we are going to be building inspired by the new expansion pack that will be coming out. Um, I hate the name, honestly. I think it's kind of uncreative, but you know what? That's fine. Um, how would I describe this build? I have no idea. Um, it's sort of like in my head, this is a community lot that happens to have some buildings, like some residential areas on top. So um, you would have like your shop down below and then you would live above it. Um, so that's sort of what we're doing right now. The like shape of the build came together really easily. So that was really nice. And each one has a different color scheme. So we've got green, black, red, and yellow. Um, Starting from left to right. The green one ends up having sort of like a kitchen and like a cooking and nectar making sort of space. And then the black one has is like an artist area, and then the red one is like baking and mixology. So sort of similar to the green one, but not the same. Nectar making nectar is different than mixing nectar. Okay? Different things. And then the yellow one is a bookstore vibe, not like an actual bookstore, but just the vibes. And then it's got two classrooms, one for teaching archaeology and one for teaching um, thanatology. So thanatology is the study of death. Um, and that is um sort of the rundown, the overview of the whole build. Um, I do decorate the back a little bit, but not too much. There's just like some dumpsters and maybe like a mosaic sort of painting space. Um, so you'll be in for a surprise because I don't actually remember what's over there. And then right now we're placing some landscaping. There's some trees right now. The front trees are not going to stay. They're going to be the same trees as the ones that are on the other lots. So it's sort of like a I don't know what kind of tree it is, but it's sort of like a tall leafy boy. These guys are also tall leafy boys, but I would describe them as long leafy boys, not tall leafy boys, because they're like corn dog shaped. Um, so we are going through placing all of the sort of getting the vibes of each of the I'm gonna call them units, each of the units, um, and putting down a floor plan. So we've got the one that we're doing right now is the thanatology, like history one. There are two actual classrooms because those are definitely like lecture based classes. So you wouldn't want to have them be like just out and in the room, you know. I feel like they need their own room, especially if you've got more than one lecture class going on. I wouldn't want to be listening to a lecture whilst someone else is giving a different lecture in the same class. Not the vibes. I've taken lecture classes. not, you don't want to be listening to two lectures at once. So now we are going through and getting a bunch of signs, like signs everywhere, signs for everyone. Um, and a lot of them came from some newer packs, um, but for them, there were quite a few. I don't know why my voice came out of my mouth like that. There were quite a few from Get to Work that came in handy for this, but don't, I don't know. I feel like of all the packs that deserve a refresh, it's Get to Work. Like I know they're not doing those anymore, but um I don't know. I feel like going back and sort of like touching up the hairs a little bit and then also like redoing a couple of the maybe like redoing the lots, touching up a couple of the hairs, because those are what age it the most in my personal humble opinion. Um, and then just like yeah, I feel like that's all it would really need. And maybe giving aliens a tree, like an occult tree, like vampires and ghosts and werewolves and spellcasters all have. Um, because I feel like that would be really nice because aliens did come with Get to Work. So I would want them to get a skill tree. Um, if you want me to talk more in detail, I love PowerPoint presentations. Um, I am the queen of PowerPoint presentations. Anyway, so right now we are working on the preliminary decorating of the green unit. Um, so there's a lot of green going on in here. We've got the front, which is the cooking classes. A lot of the time, cooking classes sort of have this like multiple little kitchens. So I sort of tried to simulate that a little bit. And then um, we do have some tables. So you could, in theory, put out like a couple of displays and have it be like a functional bakery, if you wanted. Then in here, we've got the lecture space and also the wine making or the nectar making stations. So in my head, again, um, this would be where most of the classes are taking place. We've got a lot of stuff from Horse Ranch in here, which I wasn't really expecting, but I started using a little bit of it, and then I was like, actually, what if we just did? What if we just used it? So there's a lot of green, there's a lot of cooking, and there's a lot of Horse Ranch. There's also this god ugly window, if I remember. If I placed a window where I think I placed a window, it's horrible. There's also a desk, so that's cool. And I kept this landing in because I felt like it was kind of nice. Um, but yeah, so I decided to keep this stair area in because I felt like it was kind of nice. But I do cut out all of the bathrooms because I they just it just took up time. And this video is already like ungodly long, so I didn't want to do that anymore. Right now, we are doing the floor plan for the upstairs, and I end up switching the side the um hallway is on because I was like, oh, this bedroom doesn't have any windows because it's on the inside. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna move it to the other side, and it worked out better because now the kid has windows. Um, so good for them. This kid is also, um, if is like, I think this kid has like a yellow and pink color scheme, but It's kind of cute, not gonna lie. So they've got like a very nice kitchen going on in here. Um, and I tried to be explorative and use the corner piece. But then it does that weird thing where it like makes it shorter on what like on both sides, and that's ugly. So um we cut it out for some bar seating. We also have a lot of green up here. I do end up adding green is also one of those colors. I feel like blue and green and yellow are like the main colors that they use when they're like, oh, we're doing color. You know, it's like blue, green, and yellow. Like I want reds, I want purples, I want um freaking pinks and well, they also do a lot of pink. Pink, green, blue, and yellow. I want purples, I want reds, I want oranges, I want like sort of color ambiguous like indigo. Is indigo even a fucking color? I don't think indigo should be a color. Indigo is sort of like that red and or not red. It's sort of like a bluish purple kind of color. Honestly, I hate indigo. It's my least favorite because people always give it to me. They're like, "Oh, it's purple," and it's like fucking indigo, and I'm like, "No, actually, this is blue." And nobody is like, because they think like, "Oh, like a purplish color." And I tell them plum. Do you know what color a plum is? It's like a reddish purple. That is plum. Indigo is not plum. That's why it has a different name. Anyway, I want more purple. If anyone who works for the Sims team, which you don't, if you are a Sims person, why are you watching this video? But when I say a Sims person, I mean a person who works for the Sims. Please keep watching this video. um, but no, like more purple. If I had more time, I am barely like I barely have enough time to do 2 videos a week at this point. At one point, I was doing 4 videos a week, and that was really fun. I loved doing 4 videos a week. Um just had I just had a lot of stuff going on, and so now I am trying to make money, and so this is not making me money right now, so she gets a backseat. But I do like making videos. So, um, yeah, so that's why I'm doing it. Anyway, um, yeah, so this ends up being sort of like a blue, brown, and green color scheme up here. Which is kind of pretty. It's sort of like um, a nice change. There's lots of color in here. Not lots of color, but there's more color than normal, than like the other spaces. When I do like, when I commit to a color scheme, I go like all out with that color scheme. And so, like, if I pick like a color, I definitely feel like I go all in with that color. So, that I think is part of the problem is that I just like commit so heavily, and then all of a sudden literally everything is green. And now I'm like, "Oh, maybe we should not do this. Maybe we should add different color." Because I was gonna do green for the curtains, and then I was like, but the floor is green, and the counters are green, and the carpet's green, and and the fireplace is green, and you know what I mean? So it's just like a lot of green. So I didn't, and I went with blue instead. In here, They have, like I was mentioning, this is the kids' room. They end up having a very like blue, not blue, very like yellow and pink color scheme in here, which is kind of nice. And I also imagined that they're very crafty, but their parents make them join sports to like be one of the cool kids, even though they're like into basket weaving and pottery and like knitting and um so in this room we use a lot of the uh Nifty knitting kit. We use a lot of, it's not a kit, it's a stuff pack, Nifty knitting stuff pack. We use a lot of the kids room stuff, and then also a lot of horse ranch. Um So I think this room turned out pretty cute. It does sort of have the same unfortunate circumstance of being made by me, so it's very much yellow and pink and blue in here. Um, but yeah, I was just kind of going through everything from Horse Ranch, everything from the kids' room stuff, and everything from Nifty Knitting, and just sort of like going through it and seeing what would fit. And I actually think that those packs surprisingly go well together if you know how to do a color scheme, which is kind of nice. And I honestly hope that this video is not like an hour and a half long. Um, I mean, it is, but not fully, I hope. That doesn't make any sense. But yeah, so there's also like a lot of animals going on. Like there's some sheep on the rug, there's sheep on the bed, there's butterflies. So a lot of odes to animals in that room as well. And then in here, this is the hallway, obviously. Um, so I did cut out like my fiddling with it, but essentially it looks like this. And then I went ahead and put in I sort of switched the color scheme in the primary bedroom. I don't know if I end up keeping it. But we have this really nice bed from Life and Death. I feel like Life and Death is sort of like a like an iconic name because it's like a dichotomy, you know? Like I don't know. I feel like it's a good name. Whereas businesses and hobbies is sort of like you're making a list. You know what I mean though? Like businesses and hobbies is not an iconic name. I know they're trying to be sort of new because they've got a lot of like living and get to um like island living, and then there's like eco lifestyle and stuff, but and there's like get to work and yeah, I don't know, and like get together. um but I feel like get to work and get together sort of makes sense for the type of pack that it is. Whereas businesses and hobbies is just not like it's iconic in the bad way. You know what I mean? So it was just not my favorite title moment. Not gonna lie, but it's fine. It's fine. I don't name packs for The Sims, so I'm I'm not I just name things. I don't name packs for The Sims. Um, at some point, I would like to get back into reading and I would like to get back into writing as well. Because I feel like my favorite part, speaking of naming things, by the way, I feel like my favorite part of writing books is figuring out the plot. Because there's this one book that I have been like dwelling on for literal eons, and I finally figured out what the plot is. And when I say eons, I mean like this idea came to me like the year after high school. Have graduated college at this point. So, that was at least a solid like 4 years ago, which is really weird to think that like I've been out of college for a year, but the fact that like I got that idea like last semester of high school, summer after high school, that is wild that that was like 4 years ago now. That's like as of this summer it will be 4 years, which is really creepy. Um, so anyway, um but that one, like I don't know. I think my favorite two parts of like books and like short stories is like naming the work itself, you know? I don't name my art. I don't name my art, but I do name books because you sort of need to name books so that people know how to refer to it. Like imagine if J.K. Rowling, not that we like her, but imagine if she just like didn't name Harry Potter. People would be like, the book with the with the four schools and the wizards. And people would be like, uh-huh, okay. Or like if like Percy Jackson was never named, or like imagine. Anyway, so um we are going through, and I'm actually like fully decorating this one because it's so small. I was like, there's no reason to like do preliminary decor. And also this is like an art studio, so this person is like they're like a painter, right? And then they've also got like their photography buddies and like the classes that they teach and like their sculptor buddy. Because artists know other artists. Like I am fundamentally a painter, but and like I like to draw, I like to paint. Those are like my areas that I do, right? But a lot of my friends are also artists. So one of my friends, he is more into like sculpting, not like sculpting like you would in The Sims 3, but like clay sort of sculpting. And not to be mixed up with ceramics either. Different thing. And then one of my other friends, she's like a 3D artist. She thrived in our 3D design class. That's where I met her. She's really cool. She also loves to sew. So she's one of my best friends. Um, and um, yeah, so just artists know other artists. So I do imagine that like a lot of the paintings and the like photographs and things, all of those would be um all of those would be mm, um what's the word? Like from various people, right? So they're like, "Yeah, I've got this little shop and I sell my art. Do you want to also have a wall to sell your art or have art pieces in there that people could buy?" Um because I feel like that's super realistic, you know? To just be like, hey, I have this thing. Do you want an opportunity to possibly sell something? I host classes there. So selling art isn't like the only thing that I do, but yeah, I don't know. It just seems realistic to me. And then right now we are moving on to the red unit. Um, this unit is the baking and mixology unit. It can function as a cafe, I believe. Although I didn't test it because that is hard to do because it counts all of the all of the lot instead of just that room. Um, and I didn't want to go through everything on the list to make it. Yeah, I didn't want to do that. So, um, I think it should function as um a cafe, but don't quote me on it. Um, I do also have a cafe already on this little strip, so I didn't want to make this a cafe like space. Normally, when I make a cafe, it's more casual. So there's like a few tables around, some bar height tables around, and then like a lot of couches and chairs and little seating spaces. Um, and this just isn't that. So, um, we've got a fireplace. It is the one, I believe it's from either the Decor to the Max kit or Paranormal. I can never remember which one is which. They sort of fall in the same category in my brain because they're both my kind of style. I love a good maximalist, like personality filled house. I work with old people. I see a lot of houses in my week, and to be honest, when I'm old, there are three things that I want when I'm old. One, I want a house with personality. I don't want people to walk in and it's just like white walls and like vague messages about Jesus, Like, not that I'm Christian. There's nothing wrong with being Christian, to be clear. There's nothing wrong with being religious or being Christian. Um, I'm just sort of like, if there was like a non-denominational Abrahamic faith, that's me. Okay. Not quite Jewish, not really Christian, not Muslim, just sort of like in that family. That's me. Um, and but like I don't want like white walls, a random Monet copy painting and like vague messages about Jesus because that to me is the most generic, because that's just like to me the most generic white person house on the face of the planet. Like no clutter, everything is perfectly clean. Sort of like imagine like 1950s, but like without the quirks of the 1950s. Architecturally speaking, we don't want to go back to the 1950s, culturally speaking. Um, Even though we kind of are, but side note. Um, so, um, yeah, yeah, I don't want a house that doesn't have personality when I'm old. And I also don't want dementia, but um, I don't know if dementia runs in my family, to be honest. Memory loss runs in our family, but I don't know if dementia by name runs in our family. So I don't want dementia, and I don't want a house that gives like generic white person 1950s but modern vibes. Because 1950s houses were cute, right? Despite like their lead paint and stuff, which I think people had in the 1950s. I'm not an architecture major, okay? I paint little drawings of humans and dogs. Um, but I yeah, so I want like my own paintings and I want like all my walls to be like a plum purple and I want like to have like a shit ton of rugs and wainscoting and all of my doors to be black and I feel like once you have that it's like good, and like personality is here. Um anyway, I've just been talking about nothing for a minute. So back to the build. We did finish the red space and now we are moving on to the yellow unit. This sort of has like a yellow and blue color scheme. There's a surprising amount of things that have like a yellow and blue color scheme in the game. So I did end up going with that. There are like green accents down here in the living space, but for the most part, it's yellow and blue. And then I did change the bookshelves from white to brown. I felt like it broke up the floor a little bit. The floor is very pale, And with the bookshelves being less pale, I feel like it made the space feel a little bit fuller. And then we were moving on to the rooms. Right now, we are just doing some generic furnishing. So these rooms are going to be, I'm going to decorate them for specific skills. Obviously, you don't need to use them for those specific skills, but they are decorated for them. So this one that we're doing right now is the archaeology skill, or it will be. Right now I'm just doing sort of generic ones. And then the other one is going to be for thanatology. There's going to be a lot of books and like old-timey stuff. Um, and so they both end up having bookshelves and then also some plants and lights and stuff. Um, this is the uh like employee lounge space. So we've got a couple of couches, we get a fireplace, there's tea, there's a buffet table. So like they take care of their people here. Like if you come and you teach a class, you get free food and a free cup of tea, and you can sit and read books and hang out for a little while. Um, and this is like specifically for their um, guests and like employees. And like I mentioned, I did imagine that the front is like a bookstore, but I didn't set up like a register or anything because by the end of it, I was like mostly focused on it being a learning space in comparison to like a book space. So I did end up not doing like a cash register or anything just because I was like maybe it's bookstore. If you wanted it to be a bookstore, I'm sure you could change it to be a bookstore, but I'm more focused on the learning portion. So there would be like an entry fee for this unit. Again, I don't know how it's gonna work. I don't know if you could designate like public space unit 1, public space unit 2, or if you could do, or if it's like all like public space or resident space. Um, and I don't know if you could do like resident space unit 1, a resident space unit 2. So I don't know. But I kind of hope it's the you can decide because it would make lots like this fully functional. Um, if not, that's part of the reason why it's set up the way that it is, that all of them are class settings. So if you did live in this lot, you could have like multiple shops on the and like it'd be a like an actual shopping strip and have like neighbors and stuff, but that would like you could pretend owned the or ran the stores below them, but I don't know if that's how it's going to be. So, I hope it'll be that way, but part of me says like it's not going to be that way. So, we'll just have to see. Um And now we are working on floor plans, which I did contemplate cutting out because I was like, it's a little bit redundant to like have this um, sort of like thing that everybody watches. And I feel like floor plans is like the first thing that you cut out when you're doing a long video, but I wanted to leave them in because I felt like it was good to watch, even if they did come together really, really easily. Um, the biggest problem that I had with most of them was the actual like laying out of furniture because a lot of them were just not, I don't know, just kind of kind of difficult, honestly. So we are laying out the floor plan for the yellow unit now. I did try to have sort of like an open stair area for all of the units, because I felt like it made the space feel a little bit, I don't know, a little bit better, a little bit fuller, um, without needing to space, take up space with like furniture. Especially for like the bigger ones, like the yellow unit and the green unit, they were just really kind of big, to be honest. Um, and I felt like having the open stairwell made it a little bit easier to manage. Um, so we are going through and sort of like preliminarily, again, don't know if that's a real word, but we're gonna pretend it is. Um, Laying out the floor plans. My personal favorite is the yellow one. I feel like the yellow is not my style. I think this yellow is kind of a lot. Um, Considering that like the whole thing is yellow, you know? I love yellow. It's probably like my fourth, this is such like an autistic thing to say. It's my fourth favorite color. Um, but I um not when it's like this. I would not live here, but I love the concept of like visiting someone who lives in this unit, because you could just, I don't know, it would just be so cool to have like a friend be like, yeah, so I live on this road. And then you pull up and it's like a bookstore and you're like, hi, I'm here, where are you? And they're like, oh, I'll come get you. And then it's like, um, and then they like take you through the bookshop upstairs and it looks like this. And it's like bright and yellow and cheerful and like I love a house with personality. This is not my house with my personality, but I love a house with personality. Um, One lady that I visit, she loves plants. So she's got her TV and she's got plants just everywhere. I want to be an old person with a lot of personality in my house. I I sort of have this fear that I'm gonna be an old lady with no personality, but I also know that as an old person, I wouldn't, I would be the ornery old person that's like, I don't want to take my meds. I want to stay up and watch my television shows. You know what I mean? I'm gonna watch my YouTube. And there's like, and then like, there's the grandkids are like, I don't think I'll have grandkids. I want children in my life, but I don't know that I want children, if that makes sense. Anyway, um, I would be very happy to be like a foster parent, for example. Um, anyway, so we are going back to the black unit and sort of decorating that a little bit more because it's a little bit empty right now. So we're getting windows and stuff. Um, yeah. So I think I would love to be like maybe a foster parent. Because then like you can take breaks and you don't get breaks as a parent. Like a real like a foster parent not that foster parents aren't real parents whilst they are fostering. However, you're not like a full-time parent. You've got to be a full-time parent when you're fostering, but you don't have to be a full-time parent all the time for 18 plus years, you know. Um so I think I could be a foster parent if I really wanted to be. Um but I would only want to do older kids. So, um yeah, I don't know. Anyway, love kids. I think they're great. Um, they're sort of like old people, to be honest. I don't know how many of you spend a lot of time with old people, but they're really funny. Old people are so weird. Do you have a boyfriend? Me and my little autistic self, my little asexual self, my little single self. No, I don't have a boyfriend. Oh, you should get a boyfriend. Okay. I don't really know how to respond to that, but I understand that it's supposed to be a compliment. Um, yeah. Yeah. Old people are kind of funny. They're sort of blunt. They're like, your hair, between my clinic job and my part-time job, I spend a lot of time with old people. Um, so I a lot of them are like, "Oh, your hair is so long and pretty." Thank you. I know it's long. You don't need to come over and touch my hair because it's long, or stare at my hair because it's long. It's weird if you stare at my hair because it's long. And when I say like my hair is long, I mean my hair is long. It comes down to my hips. So it's like, yes, I do know that my hair is long. Thank you for pointing that out. Um, yeah, old people are kind of funny. I a lot of people are sort of like kind of impressed when I tell them that I work with old people. Are like, "Oh, that's hard because they die." They do die, but so do young people, and nobody's really concerned about that. So, yeah, not really worried about it. But yeah, so we are working on the red unit now. Um, this honestly has my favorite floor plan. I think it's really pretty. Um, and I really love the red floor. Like, I didn't think I was gonna like the red floor, but I do. It's just sort of a bold choice that I don't make a lot. Um, yeah. So I think this one's got my favorite floor plan. The yellow one is still my favorite overall. The yellow one has like, in my personal opinion, like the most personality. It's the brightest. And I feel like most people would like the yellow one most. Just because of that. Like I definitely my personal taste, if you haven't seen my dream home video. Mine, which I need to redo that because I did that before Life and Death. So Life and Death is my style. Like if Life and Death had come out like 3 years ago, I would have that would have been like everywhere, all over everything. Please ignore the rug situation. She was having a moment, okay? I was trying to have like black and red, and there's not like a rug that does that, so um, I just went with this one. It's a little bit more whimsical. This unit is a little bit more whimsical than the other ones. Not that you can really tell from the commercial space or the public space, but yeah. So, yeah, my style is definitely a lot darker in like overall, but I think most people would like the yellow one best. So, right now we've got um a lot going on in here. We've got the living room and dining room laid out. There's the kitchen is sort of galley style, and then we also have a um, wall of bookshelves and a wall and like a computer. Um, and then that's sort of, I guess we're going back to the black unit right now. I didn't really like the combo of the um red curtain with the red rug, because they're sort of a different red. The red rug is more of like a cooler a cooler color, whereas the um curtain is more of like an orange red, like a warmer red. If you don't see it, that's fine. I'm an artist. I see everything. Um, it's kind of honestly like I told somebody that and they were like kind of freaked out, not gonna lie. They were like, "What do you mean you see everything?" And I was like, "I just noticed details that other people don't. It's not that deep." Um, but yeah, so it was um this unit I don't really like, to be honest. I know I just got done saying that my personal style is darker, in terms of like color scheme, but don't really like this unit. It's not really my style, personally. Just because it's like dark in color scheme doesn't mean it's mine. Um, but yeah, it's nice. I like it. It's just not my personal taste. I've been doing this thing a lot where I put like a pot on the stove. I just kind of like it. It feels like um, it makes the space feel a little bit more used, you know? It feels sort of like somebody was cooking something and they just like set the pot of chili on the back burner because they didn't like it needs to cool, right? Um, so yeah, I thought it was kind of nice. And then we do get some bookshelf or some we get some more books in this bookshelf, a couple of plants. It's kind of nice in there. Really it's this unit is probably the quietest. I imagined it was like a single artist sim, um, maybe with their partner, but I did imagine that it was like a single sim. Um, living here. Not necessarily like single as in like no romantic partners, but single as in like only one sim. Um, so they've got sort of like this floral um vibe going on in their bedroom. And then I got this mirror. It's oversized. Normally I try to have the mirror contained within the bounds of the dresser, but this one was like it's like 3 or 4 tiles wide, and I felt like it was kind of nice, to be honest. Like, I don't know, it just felt like it was made the room bigger. I don't know. And then we've got another desk because you can never have too many desks. And I did get um these two paintings. I felt like they fit the color scheme perfectly. And then last thing, we get a little stool at the end of the bed and some clutter on the dresser. And then I think we'll be moving to bl the black unit. Because we're in the, or no, we are in the black unit. Maybe we'll be going back to the red unit. And finishing up there. Yeah, here we go. So we've got my favorite thing about this unit is that there's like this massive gallery wall. And I think at this point we're starting to add in those yellow highlights, yellow accents, because, and this was sort of an accident, but I ended up using a lot of the accent from the one like the unit to the right. So the black unit has a lot of red accents, the red unit has a lot of yellow accents, and then the yellow has a lot of like green accents, like blue and yellow and some green. And that was definitely an accident. That was not planned. Um, and then this is the gallery wall that I was talking about. This one is this honestly like my favorite thing I've ever made. It's so big. Like it's so big. It's like I don't know. It makes me really happy. Um that it's so like it's more than one level. Like what an expansive gallery wall they've got going on of just like stuff, you know? And then we do go through and add in a few more paintings and um, some plants. This plant gave me such hell. It's technically on the lower level, but when you come up to the upper level, there's like a horrible shadow on it. So that's not fun. And then there are two bathrooms in this unit, which I end up cutting out, just because this video is already excessively long. Um, and this is not the first time I've tried to start recording this. So I have actually made it further than my other two attempts because my first two attempts I realized that my video clips were out of order. So that was um, that was really interesting. But we're done with that now. So, and then we've also got some like pretty. These paintings that I have on the wall next to the refrigerator are from City Living, and I don't really understand why they made more than one um painting. It's like the same size, it's just different paintings. Um, when they now would probably have just one painting for that has like all of the swatches and like all of the like even if they don't have even if it was I think they have like five or six um actual different paintings, but they all only have one like one frame, um, which is really annoying. So I wish they would have made that all one, like the same item, and just had like a couple of different swatches, like maybe five different paintings and two different frames so that they all could be mixed and matched together. But they didn't do that. So I'm a little frustrated. And then another thing that I was trying to do with each of the units was sort of pick a pack and try to use a lot from that pack. So um, the the black unit ended up having a lot of um, life and death, which, as I mentioned, is my style, but um, it does have a lot of life and death. And then this one, I really tried to use a lot of um, city living and tiny living um, because I felt like they were a little bit more contemporary, a little bit more modern. And this build, I felt like was trying to be that. So we do have more of those. And then another thing, this plant is from Crystal Creations. It is my favorite plant. I use that thing everywhere. I've used it twice in this room alone. So, good plant. It's a good plant. Whoever made that plant, good job. I appreciate you. Um, and then we were just putting in I was trying to figure out some way to like break up the wall a little bit without making it more busy, but I did not succeed. And I think those bathrooms are my favorite bathrooms in this entire build. Like though like I know I cut them out, but those bathrooms are my favorite ones in this whole place. They're so pretty. And lastly, we are moving back to the yellow unit. Um, this this is the one that I would love to visit. Um, it's really, like I said, it's really pretty. Um, and I end up using um, a lot of different packs. Mostly, I wouldn't say there's like one or two that I used. I was more going for um like HGTV sort of inspired home. Um because it was um it was so pretty. I was like, this looks like something that would probably come out of like HGTV's Hometown or something. Um because I feel like they always have such cute little houses. Not that this is a house, but and then I did imagine this household had two kids. So I'm gonna be putting a framed TV up on the um fireplace. But once we move into the bedrooms, we'll do the primary bedroom first. The wallpaper situation in here was very hard. I wanted something blue and I wanted something that was a little bit lighter of a blue. So I decided to do this wallpaper from the Goth Baby kit. I know it's the Storybook Nursery kit, but I call it the Goth Baby kit. Um, so, um, that yeah, so that's where that came from. And then I did get this bed, which we actually used a different swatch in a different unit. But I hadn't like actually looked at any of the swatches from this bed because I don't like it as much as the other one. But I felt like this one really fit the space. So, I decided to use it. And another thing that I did that was kind of interesting was the use of the columns. There was a hallway in the bedroom that led to the primary bathroom, and which I cut out because it's the same as every other bathroom in this entire thing. I mean, it's not, but I feel like bathrooms and floor plans are the ones that you cut out first, or at least most people cut out first from really long speed builds. Um, so the um the columns sort of separate out the um, hallway from the actual bedroom. And then I used this rug and I thought it was absolutely gorgeous. And this is the bedroom. I did imagine they were twins. Um, the twin on the right with the flower bed, I did imagine that he was sort of like an outdoorsy, but not outdoorsy, like plays basketball. I felt like the basketball in the living room probably belonged to his sister, the one on the other side of the divider. Um, but yeah, so I felt like he was kind of crafty, kind of um, outdoorsy, but in like a hiking kind of way. I imagine he loves yellow, like loves yellow, to the point where it's sort of annoying. Um, and then I did imagine that his twin sister was into sports and video games, which is sort of like a stereotypical boys um combo, but I thought it would be kind of interesting. I felt like that space was giving more feminine energy. I don't know. Um, I'm not really like I don't I'm not really I don't know. I feel like the this room is sort of an interesting little social experiment because you would look at it and think like, "Oh, this is this side's the girl's side and this side's the boy's side." But that's not, it's actually the opposite. Um, my cat has decided he's joining us. Um, his name is Atticus. If you have made it this far and are new, um, he is half Maine Coon. I mention it all the time. I feel like every time I mention him, I always mention he's Maine Coon, but He's big boy. He does scream for no reason. But he's decided to curl up and join us. So we have been blessed. Not that you can see him because I don't have a camera, but well, I have a camera. It's just not on. And I don't have like a face camera or anything. Um, but yeah, so we are moving on to. I did also imagine that the brother was like kind of into music, um, and then also in like a much more social than his sister. I felt like his sister was sort of like standoffish and not really like into, um, not really into to very much. I felt like she was probably more into like video games and sports and stuff, whereas her brother's more into like gardening and taking hikes, and she's like avoid critters and like Assassin's Creed. Um, so, um, yeah, she has a lot of posters, and then I did this thing in my legacy challenge where I put pillows like leaned up against the bed on like a single bed for my teenager. Well, actually, it's the grandma's sister who's a teenager. The family tree is weird, but she has that, and I thought it looked really cute. So we do have a dresser. It is purple on this side, and then her brother has the one from Modern Luxe Kit. Um, and that is the whole room. So now we are sort of moving on to the outside. I did decorate their patio or like their balcony first because it's their their balcony. And I was just doing their apartment. So, we've got some planters for the twin brother. Sorry, it's getting kind of late. For the twin brother, we've got a little picnic table and like a bird feeder outside the window. Um, and then I was just sort of like taking inspiration from the other lots nearby. Um, so we got a chess table, and then I'm putting some benches in front of the trees because the other lots also had that. So I thought it would be kind of nice to sort of mimic that. And then I don't know why I'm looking at it at night, but we get a couple more benches and then also some more seating. Um, it is in between the bookstore and the cafe, or like the baking space, because I felt like it made sense to have like some tables for you to like sit and read while you eat your muffin or drink your coffee or whatever. Um, and then I did put these lanterns. They are red, so technically they would be with the red unit, but nobody's gonna pay attention, so it doesn't matter. And then I wanted windows, but there is in fact bookshelves. So the windows wouldn't actually do anything, and I realized what I was actually wanting was texture. So what I do when I want texture is I put I don't even know what they technically are, but I put these the little things from Snowy Escape, and then I put vines growing up it from either the base game or Get Together. I don't remember. We are going around and putting signs. I do cut this out. I leave in some, but I cut out the rest because there's just a lot. And now I'm just going through and putting in some last minute touches. So we've got this sign for the cooking one, and then we've got a couple of other signs for the other units. And I did cut out some of it because it was like, you don't need to go around watching me put in like hand sanitizer in all the bathrooms. You know what I mean? Um, and then we're gonna come out here and get some rugs and just like other things that are kind of fun. And sort of break up the space a little bit because um, this is all like concrete. So if you it felt sort of plain beforehand before I put the rugs and other stuff. And now we're just going through and placing some last minute touches. I did go through and put in all a bunch of lights and stuff already. Um, so if you do happen to come here at night for whatever reason, it will be lit. Um, so that is pretty much everything. So we are coming to the end of the video now. If you liked this, if you would like and subscribe, that would really mean a lot. And I will see all of you next time. Bye now.